Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 71 of the Uncommon Commentators, where we like to discuss the NBA, of course, the ins and outs, the drama, the on court action, anything exciting going on around the league, of course. And I'm the boy, Antoine Willis. This is my co host, Garrett Brown. How you doing, Garrett? It's Thursday night, as we always say. Yeah, man, it's Thursday. It's April. March went by extremely fast, at least in my book. You feel me? But how's your week been so far, and how was your day today? We dealing with a thunderstorm in Atlanta right now, so that's how your night's going. But like, how was your day? Was it good?
Yeah, brother. Everything is good, and I hope
Mhm.
you're safe through the thunderstorm. So hopefully everything goes okay. But yeah, I'm doing all right, my man.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I'm trying my best, man. It's going off behind me, but I always like the rain. Either way, I have the best sleeps when it rains. So, but of course, want to thank y'all again for joining us. Most definitely, always a blessing to do this show. I want to give a shout out to Jay Holloway and Raina Holloway. Always, lovely couple, most definitely, and friends of ours, friends of the show. Want to give a shout out to Nick Andre. It's his birthday, by the way. So happy birthday.
Yeah.
Um, most definitely gotta let the air horns off for you. Most definitely. Happy birthday to Nick Andre. Been there for me. Been there for us. A lot. Has been on the show before when we needed him to be. Great sports pundit. If y'all don't know. And yeah, go watch his show that he does with Jay and of course, Olivia Pope, called The Best Damn W Show. The boy Wiley, who's also on the ones and twos right now, as always. Also does this show as well. And you can tell from all the effects you're hearing right now, he does a pretty good job, most definitely. So, yeah, I want to thank y'all again for joining us. Absolutely. We have a great show for y'all today. With our first topic, obviously, we're going to start off with the massive news of what's going on up north in Denver, Colorado. We saw the Michael Malone. He was with the franchise for 10 years. He was the head coach that helped them win their first ever NBA title back in 2023. They fired him just this past. I mean, like yeah, I think yesterday. Pretty thing. I think it was yesterday. They were 11-13 since the All Star break in February. So they had dropped down to about 20th in defense in the league. So given the fact that they do in fact have an all time great on the team, there's a certain standard, a certain championship standard that even the GM said himself in a statement when he was let go. He was saying like it's a certain championship standard that they have established with the franchise that they do want to maintain, and I can't blame them. Once you taste gold of that magnitude, you can only want to stay there, especially when you have a superstar like Nikola Jokic on your team. Having a player of that magnitude gives you a championship window, like we saw. So like I mentioned, they were 11-13 since the All Star break, but he was with the team for 10 seasons. So it's pretty crazy to see him go. They did also fire general manager Calvin Booth, who was with the team for 3 years. Many fans weren't really impressed with Mr. Booth, given like the moves he really didn't make during the offseason. Obviously, they lost Contavious Caldwell Pope and they lost Bruce Brown Jr. And Jeff Green as well. All three veterans that really were big pieces of their championship run when they won against the Heat back in 2023. So what was your reaction to the firing, Garrett, of both the GM and the head coach? And where do you think Denver goes from here? To the fourth seed in the Western Conference with the playoffs slowly approaching. And like I said, they do have a superstar at the top of the roster. Nikola is currently top three in all three facets of the game: point scoring and assist. He's actually I'm about to be the first player, I'm pretty sure in NBA history, to ever finish leading the league and well being top three in all three categories. So what do you think Denver does from here, and like what do you think was the reasoning behind them firing Michael Malone and Calvin Booth?
Well, I think I wasn't really expecting it because of the fact that you do this when you're about to approach for the playoffs, and the playoffs are right around the corner. It's the same situation with Memphis when they fired head coach Taylor Jenkins. So eh, and typically when you see a head coach getting fired, normally that takes place during the off season. Now, right now, Denver is ranked 21st in defensive rating at 116.2. So clearly, their defense has taken a big hit this year, and that's where Nikola Jokic's frustration has taken place with his team, with the team's defensive struggles. And clearly, they're not the same defensive team that it used to be when they had KCP and when they had Bruce Brown, right? So it's where they have not been able to really upgrade the roster to a certain extent. Yes, they acquired, Russell Westbrook and other guys to try to make the roster as sustainable as possible, but it has not turned out for them. So honestly, it's a big question mark for the team because you don't know what's going to happen with this team at all. Because with this with this decision having to be made right now, it could be open for anything. You could possibly see them shake the roster up a little bit. You could possibly see Michael Porter Jr. getting traded. You could
Ooh.
possibly see other core pieces getting traded. But I don't think that they're going to gut the roster. I don't think they're going to head towards a rebuild or anything like that. Especially when you have a three-time MVP and Nikola Jokic. I don't think they're going to go that route. But then again, as I said before, we've seen Luka Doncic get traded, and that came out of nowhere. So
Mhm.
it's only right to say that anything can happen in the league. Literally anything can happen. So we just have to wait and see. But honestly, though, I don't think they have to really do anything like that. But I can understand that they want to shake the roster up a little bit just to try to upgrade the roster, get more defensive minded players around Nikola Jokic due to the loss of Bruce Brown and KCP. So I can definitely understand that. Now, one thing that I can say about the NBA right now, as far as how things are just shaping and how teams are thinking and how they want to move. Boston's head coach Joe Mazzulla, when he was asked about the firing of Mike Malone in Denver, he said, "quote I wake up every day saying this could be my last day."
Stop the cap.
And I had to be honest with you, that I can't blame the man for that at all because that's literally what it feels like. Because I think it's where teams are less patient, where it's like,
Right.
okay, they're giving coaches or executives a shorter time to really get things in order. And if it's where it doesn't fit to that timeline or things are not trending towards the right direction, then that's where they're just going to cut the cord and move forward into a different
Mhm.
direction. But no, I mean that's just how the this business is. So, but yeah, I think for the fire of Mike Malone, and to be honest, it's not really surprising because, of course, when you hear the news and the intel about what led Denver to firing Mike Malone, it mainly had to do with the locker room, or I should say, the players just not buying into the system and not really looking at Mike Malone as a head coach that they can be behind of.
Right.
Less than a month ago when they lost to Portland, Mike Malone, called out on the players for not watching film and just not really trying to improve as a team. But I guess stuff like that, it just rubbed the players the wrong way. Of course, coaches they want to keep it honest, but at the same time, you have to understand that these are your players, so you have to really send the message in a different way. So but yeah, I think that for Mike Malone, I don't think it's going to be long. Neither for Taylor Jenkins for them to be unemployed. They're going to land into another spot soon. So I'm not really worried about that. But of course, for Denver, I don't know who there's going to be their new head coach. But I mean, it's possible that we could see multiple changes to happen from other teams. So we just have to wait and see. But yeah, they have a lot of holes to fill with their head coach opening and their GM opening. But yeah, I think that there's not necessarily a something that has to be fixed in a significant way where you're having to trade Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic or anything like that. Because to your point, they're top four, top five seeds, so it's nothing where they have to fix anything major. I just think that they just need to find other pieces that are better, but a better fit for this team. And I think they're good back on track. But yeah, I'm sorry to see Mike Malone leave. He won a championship for the city. So, but like I said, this is a cold business, and that's how it works. So I wish him nothing the best, and I hope he'll find his next landing spot pretty soon.
Yeah, man, it just goes to show, like, I want to piggyback off what you said when you mentioned how brutal the sport is. Like, it really is kind of ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. Like, these dudes are winning coach of the
Yeah.
years, they're winning championships, like, and like they're leading their teams to deep playoff runs, and they're still getting let go in the midst of seasons. Like, this man, like, they were still the 4th seed, and maybe the reason, like, and maybe the reason they're 11 and 13 are some of the reasons why they were losing. Like, I mean, not losing, like some of the reasons why he was calling them out, like not watching film, not trying their hardest. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they were producing so many negative results on the floor. We know how it can be when you crack the code and you finally become a champion. Like, it's hard to maintain that same level of hunger that you had on your way up when you were still just contenders in the Western Conference. So obviously that they knew they had a massive target on their backs when they first won the championship in 2023, and we saw the Boston Celtics indirectly dethrone them and become the champions themselves. So obviously we know that Denver, and they didn't expect, I'm pretty sure like they lost in like the second round last year, so it was just a complete disappointment for the Western Conference champions, the NBA champions, I should say. And I think for Denver, right now, I like what you said. Obviously, they still have a superstar at the top of the roster. It's really all about finding a new coach that can mesh with this system. I liked Michael Malone. I do think the firing was unjust. He showed that he can coach this team. And lead a team, like establish the culture, like out coach other coaches and be the last coach standing at the end of a team. Even how he out coached Darvin Ham that one year with the Lakers, and really became the Lakers' kryptonite in the Western Conference, to be quite honest. And I get it. There was times that Michael Malone, there were reports of him screaming at the players, like during practices, during timeouts, during huddles, during like film sessions. He would always be so intense and so passionate. And I definitely think when he became a championship coach, that definitely elevated his ego, absolutely, as it should. It's really hard to be on a sideline when you go from coaching. You're not coaching high schoolers, you're coaching grown men that have egos themselves. So it's really, really hard to do that. There's a reason why the coaches themselves also get paid millions of dollars. It's not easy to be an NBA head coach, especially especially on this landscape. Absolutely. And like for me, I just think, of course, before Wiley, I love to hear his piece. I'm really excited to hear what he has to say, of course, knowing his knowledge of the game, absolutely. And I think from Michael Malone, the last thing I did want to say, Wiley, was like, I do think he will get picked up really, really quick this offseason. I'd be pretty shocked. It could be the Grizzlies. You could see him literally go to Memphis. Obviously, they saw him win a championship. They know with a young team like the Grizzlies, we know Ja, obviously he did the whole gun thing again, but there was one point in a game previous where he actually did a grenade and he threw it in the crowd and stuff like that. I say all that because obviously Michael Malone can help this team mature. Absolutely. They love Taylor Jenkins. You heard how hurt Desmond Bane was to see him leave. He took full accountability, saying that coach wasn't on the court. He's not having to guard players. Like, it's us, and probably the reason why Jenkins was let go. Like I mentioned, Taylor Jenkins did have a 250 to 214 coaching record after 6 seasons in Memphis. So I do think that Michael Malone will get picked up pretty quick. He can't be no assistant coach. I'd be pretty shocked if he were to take a back seat to another head coach, especially after being after working his way up in Denver to become the head coach and winning a title at that. But that's really all I have to say. Calvin Booth, like I said, many people weren't really impressed with him as a GM. He let a lot of pieces go. He wasn't really that active over the offseason, and that's how we really saw Denver really fall to the 4th seed, to the 5th seed, instead of being that dominant 1 to 3 seed, as we always expect them to be. But Wiley, I would love to hear what you got to say. Like I said, the NBA is brutal nowadays. Firing these guys, not even giving them a chance mid-season. I wish the best for Willie Green, the coach of the Pelicans, Jordy Fernandez, the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, Chauncey Billups, the coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. I wish these 3 men absolutely all the best for their careers going into next season and this off season as well. And Will Hardy of the Utah Jazz. But I would love to hear what you have to say, Wiley, of course.
First of all, Joe Mazzulla,
And
cut it,
Steve Kerr.
cut it out. Joe Mazzulla, cut it out. My thing is, and I say that on the strength of those players. Uh, so when you think about it, those players, they they knew what they were getting into when you ended up taking over because you were there. You were there with Ime when he was coaching the Celtics,
Yep.
and your two stars in Jalen and Jason, you already had them in the bag. You had their attention, and the way you've coached not only them but the team that you have, y'all won the finals. So unless it's something that you feel like you're doing something wrong, then that's the only reason why you would say that. Because other than that, y'all are the number 2 seed in the East. So again, cut the shit. Cut the shit, dog. Like I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Um as far as for the Nuggets, Jesus. Definitely and it's just more so if this was going depending on how they're framing this and whatever time frame that we'll hear of how long this everything has been going on with the team.
Mhm.
If you're going to fire Michael Malone, you should have did it at the All-Star break or right after the All-Star. Like you don't do it fucking 3-4 games before the season's over with and you head into the playoffs. Like you've pretty much set this team up to fail in a sense. I mean, and I'm not sure who the interim coach is, but if they weren't tied to the hip with Michael Malone, then I mean, this is about to be a free for all playoffs for them. It's going to pretty much be, we're pretty much going to see how much continuity this team has and how well they trust each other going into this playoffs. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Because I
Calvin,
mean,
oh no, go
because I
ahead.
mean, yeah, because I mean, it just sounds like because to your point, Wiley, that it's just strange how, like I said, when Memphis fired Taylor Jenkins and
Mhm,
then Denver firing Mike Malone, like the playoffs are literally right around the corner, and you're doing this just now.
right.
So I mean, for me, it just seems like okay, now for Mike Malone in particular, with the locker room issues that they had, to your point, yeah, if it was that toxic, then you should have done it like around, All-Star break because because even Jokic even said like he knew what was going on. He knew that he was on the verge of getting fired, but
Mhm.
it just doesn't make any sense when you do it like at this point. So I
Right.
mean, because I mean, you're a top four seed team, so it's not like this team never had a chance of potentially, winning a championship. Even though that I don't have them winning it all, but it's just more so like, okay, you're a top four seed team, you still have a chance to, make a deep, run into the playoffs. But yeah, to your point, it's just weird that you're doing this like right now. Like if
Right. It
you
ain't
like
like
if
y'all.
yeah.
It ain't like y'all the fucking Phoenix Suns.
Yeah,
So
so I mean,
like, like, come on, dog.
yeah, it's just like, bro, like I mean, at least at least give the team like a chance to like really
For
compete
real.
because if y'all happen to like make it to the West Conference Finals or even to the finals,
But
then
see,
I mean, then I
now,
feel like at that point then something could be fixed. But
now
you
that's the
know,
part, and now that part I get why I. This is the only part of the organization, as far as the organization firing Mike Malone, that I understand. It's like we don't want him to fuck around and catch fire and make it to, like you said, the Western Conference Finals or the finals, and now we got to keep him.
Right.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's pretty much you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. in a sense. And it's like now you have to figure out what are you going to do next. Like you mentioned, you might have to move some pieces. And speaking of moving pieces, here's the reason Calvin Booth was fired, because this is definitely your fault as to the way this team looks. Because as soon as you lost Bruce Bowen and KCP and
honestly though,
Green,
while just to add context too, both Mike Malone and Calvin Booth, they didn't see everything eye to eye, because to my understanding, Mike Malone wanted Calvin Booth to resign KCP, but then Calvin Booth said it's time to move on, and that's why I just like. So yeah. I mean, I'm not because I mean, at the end of the day, it's the team, the organization that made the decision to fire both of them. But I guess for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say, hey, I would much rather keep Mike Malone than Calvin Booth, because at least Mike Malone knows how to win, a championship. And even like for me, because I'm like, because I say it's about the 2020 Lakers when they won the championship in a bubble. It's where, okay, you had all these pieces and you just won a championship. Why dismantle the entire roster for one guy? So it's like, for me, like I would have brought KCP back. I would have tried to, maintain the same roster as much as I can. Now, if it's where I just can't absolutely do it, then, I can't do it. But I mean, it's just common sense to me. But I mean,
absolutely, and that's why. And so if that's the case, then yeah, now you look at the organization, because you should have got Calvin Booth out the way, and you could have found a GM that you could have brought in and that has a liking to Mike Malone. Now, when it comes to them finding a head coach and another GM, get your GM first, because your GM has to be in lock with the head coach, because they have to be able to communicate and figure out, okay, we want to sign this player, we need to get rid of this player, A, B, C, and D. So get your GM first, then go get your head coach, because it has to mesh. If it doesn't mesh, you're gonna be doing the same shit all over again, where you're firing your goddamn head coach and your GM, and you're back to square one. And then, like you said, you may have to move some pieces. What pieces? Who knows? We've already seen enough unorthodox trades throughout the season already. So it ain't no telling what's going to happen this offseason, especially now with the Nuggets and how. I mean, hell, we need to see how they're going to look in the playoffs. So, I mean, more power to these to the players for the Nuggets. Please stop making this. Please stop making Russell Westbrook a scapegoat. Let's not do that, because if you want to drill it down, when Jamal Murray was out, he stepped right on up and they played like a well-oiled machine. So cut the shit.
I agree with what both you gentlemen said. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Like, again, to give my last reaction on it. I think Michael Malone was a scapegoat. I think the players got lazy 100%. I think they got complacent. You can see it on the floor. You can see it in the interviews 100%. I think Jokic, he's going to continue to be like that. He's just really skilled, super talented, arguably the most skilled big man we've ever seen in terms of what he can do with the ball. He just had another 60-point triple-double, then like a 40-point triple-double.
But triple-double last night.
Like, seriously, and it's crazy because they're losing these games, and it's really, really unfortunate. And for that to happen to a team that looked as dominant as they did just 2 seasons ago, it truly is. I don't want to say ridiculous, but because obviously they're still the 4th seed. I don't want to be lazy and claim something that isn't true. I just think that obviously with the firing of the GM and the head coach, they really might not know what direction they're trying to go right now. They're solely built off Nikola Jokic. If at any point in time he becomes unsatisfied with the shape of this roster, this franchise is doomed. I don't think they will be able to replicate his production. Any player on this team will not be able to step up like a Jimmy Butler leaving Miami and Tyler Hero stepping up kind of situation. I don't think it'll be like that.
Well, hopefully they're smart enough to get the amount of trade value for Joker.
Man,
I'm hoping that they're smart enough to at least do that part.
Oh man, like that. What you can get everything for him. Like it really just depends on like what franchise he would go to. Only other team I could really see him, I could maybe see him play with Luka because like the relationship that they have. And like the Lakers always try to have all-time great players on their teams, and they're pretty good at it with their cap space and their cap allocations and stuff. And Rob Pelinka, he's always making the magic work and stuff. Obviously, if they were to package like Austin Reeves would 100% have to be a part of that package on top of all their other pieces as well, seeing how Austin Reeves is playing absolutely amazing right now alongside Luka. But yeah, man, even again, just to end on Denver, it's unfortunate to see him go. I don't like seeing any man lose his job. Granted, these guys are millionaires. You feel me? Michael Malone is a millionaire. He is going to get picked up super duper fast. Even though they're millionaires, he could retire right now. They don't want to sit at home. They don't. There's too much money to be made, and they love coaching. They love being around the game, going state to state, country to country, playoffs, sold out arenas every night. Like you gotta love it, the spectacle every day. So Calvin Booth, he didn't have the best performance as a GM, like I did say. I say that to say I don't know if he'll get back up as a head GM, maybe an assistant GM. He was good enough to get hired. He was there for 3 years. Obviously that was his performance, and we saw how it went. But I think maybe in another assistant role, he can maybe redeem himself, maybe learn the game a little bit more from a manager role, and to see where he goes from there. But Denver, like I said, they're 4th in the West. The playoffs are approaching. I don't know what happens to them now. Like it's just pretty interesting to see what's going on with the team. Like, because you have a coach in David Adelman, by the way, that's the interim head coach at the moment. I don't think he has that much playoff experience. Of course, not as much as a champion as Michael Malone. So in those big moments, in those game 6s, game 7s, if they make it that far, I don't know how he's going to perform in those kind of situations. So, like I said, they're 4th. So if the playoffs started today, they would face Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Norman Powell in the Los Angeles Clippers. So it'd be pretty interesting to see how that goes. Speaking of the Clippers, I want to give a shout out to Ivica Zubac. He's averaging 17 points and 13 rebounds this year. Real 16.6 and like 12.6 if you want to round down and stuff like that. But if you go on his ESPN and go down, he's had multiple 2020s this year. He's playing absolutely phenomenal, and I was not aware of that at all. When I saw like that, those are his averages, not like his monthly average. His season average, and he's played like 77 games this season. So to see him like be playing that well, the former Laker, Ivica Zubac, just had to definitely give a shout out to him, as he might give the Denver Nuggets problems. He might give Jokic some physicality issues, and he's a great rebounder as well. He currently averages more rebounds than Nikola at the moment. So, and they have a lot of superstar talent still with Kawhi Leonard. Norman Powell's playing amazing. James Harden's playing great, even at 35 years old. So, that Nuggets and Clippers series, they might give them some issues, So we'll see how it goes. And then, hey, I'll be real. I like Tyronn Lue's chances from the sideline in that series. I'm not going to lie. So we'll see how it goes. But, of course, moving on. But we're staying with the Western Conference in this one. I wanted to discuss another big man of the Western Conference, but he's always in the news for all the wrong reasons. Instead, unfortunately, I wanted to discuss the 4-time NBA champion and potential 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green. As of right now, he's sitting as a minus favorite from most of your betting odds, whether it's FanDuel, Bovada, DraftKings, whatever, what have you. He is the minus betting favorite, means he'll probably most likely win the 2025 Defensive Player of the Year award. He's played pretty good this year. Still Draymond, averaging 9.6 rebounds and 6 assists. Still doing his thing out in Golden State. He just had 13 points, 8 assists, and 9 rebounds last night. He just turned 35 on March 4th, so he's on a $100 million deal. So they still think he's pretty good, and obviously he's still playing like it too. So like I said, he's always the news for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. Just recently, he did get into it with Alperen Sengun during a nightly match versus the Houston Rockets. They lost that game where Draymond went baseline and got a fifth foul, which was charged. It was charged on an offensive foul on Draymond and it was also declared a flagrant after he got a technical the play before that on Sengun. Both plays happened on Alperen. So, obviously, we've seen him get into it with multiple players. Like there's the crazy highlights, like last season. I think it was last year with the use of Nurkic when he flailed his body and he smacked him up, and he fell on the ground. Like there's that one picture of him with his leg in between Steven Adams' crotch and I mean, it's just so mean. Like that one where he's digging in James Harden's eyes and James' eyes are red after. And most notably, of course, the most notorious foul that Draymond ever committed was off the court during a practice session with his teammate where he did indeed punch former Golden State Warrior Jordan Poole in the face. Now, there's a lot of different circumstances going around that event. Many people don't know what Jordan really said to Draymond that made him that upset, that made him, you see Draymond literally walk over to Jordan, press him like say do something more, obviously those have been in confrontations, if you know a person like that, you obviously walked over to him. It was something along the lines of, do something. I'm waiting for you to push me. You see Jordan give in and push him, and Draymond automatically decks him in the face with a right hook, sending Jordan to the ground. It was over after that. And even Draymond Green came out and said that he felt really bad for doing it. Of course, he said that he had no choice, but he was suspended indefinitely after that. There was no timetable on it. They just sent him away from the team. He had to spend time away from the team. I think he got counseling or something like that. And he did indeed return, obviously. And I mean, yeah, there's still the Warriors as normal. They're still playing pretty good right now. Obviously, they got Jimmy Butler most recently. And they're still Golden State. They won the ring in 2022. But of course, focusing on Draymond, I wanted to ask you, Garrett, the reason why I brought him up. Obviously, he just got into it with another current star during the Houston Rockets game. But do you think with everything I listed, because that's why I started off with his illustrious journey, the 4-time NBA champion coming out of the second round of the NBA draft out of Michigan State, the 2-time defensive player of the year, about to be almost, So do you think this could really ruin his legacy? Not the play overall appearance in Goon, but do you think when they look back on Draymond Green 20 years from now, do you think he'll be liked more than hated or hated more than liked?
Well, I think that is going to be more so where he's going to be, to me, be more hated than liked because of the fact that with these fights that he's been getting into, and it's where, okay, if you look at all the dirty plays that he's had on the court with having unnecessary, fouls and getting into other fights and stuff, I think that people are definitely going to remember that because I think it's been happening more recent. And we also can't forget the fight that he had with Jordan Poole. And I feel like that's different compared to other situations because that was his actual teammate.
Yep.
So it's like you're throwing fists against your own teammate. And so, and to be honest with you, I mean, I know that things happen, but stuff like this, I'm not, now don't get me wrong here. Now, I don't think that none of this is going to prevent him from being a Hall of Famer or anything like that. He's definitely going to, he's definitely going to be rewarded for that.
First
But
battle.
I just think, yeah, first battle for sure. And I don't think that his accolades are going to prevent him from being that either because I mean he's a 4-time champion, he's a 4-time All-Star. He led the league. He was the steals leader in 2017, the same year when he won Defensive Player of the Year. And to your point, he could potentially win it again this year. So, yeah, I don't think none of this is going to prevent him from being a future Hall of Famer or anything like that. But I just think that, I think I'm only saying this from a player's perspective. I'm not speaking for the media or anything like that. I just think that for players that have played against Draymond, I think they would say he's more hated than liked. And I'm just saying that across the league. I'm not just referring to players that he's had these confrontations against, confrontations, with. I'm just speaking throughout the entire league. I think that's what people would say. But then again, we've seen players that that they're labeled as dirty players. We know Wiley. He's labeled Chris Paul as a dirty player. We've seen players like Patrick Beverly who's been named a dirty player. So
You
I
feel like
mean,
Chris Paul is a dirty
I knew he was gonna say.
well, hey, so there's always one in the family, right? So, but nah, that's how that's just how it is. So, but no, I think for Draymond, like I said, if his career ended today,
Mhm.
for me, I would give him all of his credit because he's been to the Golden State's organization. I think he's going to retire there as a Warrior, same along with Steph. And so, I mean, he was one of the, he was their part of the core three. He was one of the reasons why they've won 4 championships. So, and he was part of that dynasty with that team.
Yep.
So when you take all that into account, uh, what he's done against other players with these confrontations, I don't think that's going to outweigh what he has done as a player from a production standpoint. Because there's not many teams in the NBA. When you look at it, in the history of the NBA, there's only a handful of teams that you could say, hey, that team was a dynasty. I mean, we could say teams like the Boston Celtics in the back in the day when they
Spurs.
had Larry Bird and those guys, the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. Of course, the Lakers are going to be one of them, and then you have Golden State. And if there's any other team that I'm missing, my apologies, but I'm just saying there's only a handful of teams that you could label a team like that. And for Draymond to be one of the core pieces to help form that kind of team, you have to take that into account. And I don't think that he's a bad person or anything like that. He's not a guy that wants to cause harm or anything like that. I think he just made, some dumb decisions and mistakes. That's why I can't really you can't necessarily let the conversation go between him and Jordan Poole because uh, despite what you may say or how you feel, I don't, clearly he had said something, meaning Jordan Poole said something to him that pissed him off, where you throwing punches and stuff. I'm not an advocate or anything like that. I don't think that no matter what was going on between that situation, I don't think uh, it, it it led to throwing punches against your own teammate. I just don't agree with that. So I think that's one thing that I would just not have to like. I just can't co-sign. I understand that players do things out of frustration, things of that nature. But no, I think overall, Draymond Green, I think he's a really good person and been a very, very good player for this organization. But no, I think that in terms of if he's going to be looked at as more hated or liked, I think from a player standpoint across the league, I think he's going to be viewed as more hated than liked. But I think overall, when you look at people in the media or fans, I think he's going to be viewed as more liked than hated. So
Yep.
that's why I feel with Draymond.
Please, Wiley.
Oh no. Dre, it's gonna be a split. You're gonna have you're gonna have a lot of people that I mean, hell, you have a lot of people that cannot stand Draymond. You have people that love Draymond. So it's gonna be a split. Like you said, from a Hall of Fame standpoint, none of that should not affect his Hall of Fame status. Although we have no clue what the criteria is when it comes to the Hall of Fame. That I think that's one thing. That might be a topic. That might have to be a topic for another episode. Like, what's the actual criteria when it comes to choosing players for the Hall of Fame? But as I digress, Draymond definitely first ballot. Like his stats, his stats and his stats says one thing, his play says another.
Mhm.
And the type of player that he is, I've always said it, that he's the player that you want on your team. I don't give a damn about any of the technicals that he get. Like when he's focused and he's playing ball, he's the type of player that you want. He's gonna do the dirty work for you. He's going to make the right plays. He's smart as hell when it comes to his basketball IQ. Like he's definitely a player that you want on your team. And he's he's always been the heart and soul of Golden State. Like he's been the heartbeat of Golden State. Of course, people are going to give him shit about everything that he's done outside of legit playing the game, of course, like you said, with the technicals. Fun fact, Draymond Green has over 165 technicals and has paid over $1.2 million in fines in his career. So
$1 million, man, you could have saved.
that's nuts. I mean,
Damn.
Well, that's not much money to him, anyways. The amount of money he's made, so that's pocket change.
But especially with the most recent technical with Sengun in that Rockets game, we know that the Rockets, they play a physical game. So he was matching the energies. We know how he can get. We saw where it went from there. A lot of this shit he does on purpose. Like in a lot of players, when they get technicals, especially when they get thrown out of games, they'll do that shit on purpose because they don't feel like playing. And they'll legit sell you that. And he said it before. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't feel like playing no more, so I went ahead and figured out a way to get ejected from the game."
That's kind of like a similar situation because now you said that, while I just totally forgot about this. Remember in the playoffs when they played against the Kings? I think that series went 7 games when he literally stomped on Sabonis' chest.
Yeah,
I'm just like, bruh. I'm just like, come on now. You can't say you can't say that was just by accident.
Right.
Stuff like that is just wild. But yeah.
Oh no, he's done some egregious shit.
Yeah, he has. He has though.
He's done so. There's been times where he's gotten tossed, and you be like, why? What was the reason? And then there's times you're like, you know what, get his ass out of there.
But I will say the technicals though, because you have to understand that he is a very competitive player. He has a very competitive spirit. So I wouldn't say all technicals are bad. That just comes from a competitive spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, there stuff like that is just you don't have no excuse for that. That was intentional. So you can't. There's no way to spin on that one. But
absolutely. Yeah. Look, as somebody being somebody's point guard and loving to talk shit on the court, yes, I've definitely got my fair share of technicals just for strictly talking shit, not doing nothing egregious, but running my mouth at the opposing point guard because straight competitive. I'm competitive, so I get. Sometimes you're gonna get those type of texts. Yep. It is what it is. Look, those are the texts that you're willing to be like, you know what, it was worth it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Dre. Like I said, Draymond, I fuck with Draymond. Like overall, I fuck with Draymond. I guess being in this space where we talk about sports, of course, we can call out the bullshit, but also we know when we see a legit player, and Draymond's always been a legit player since his time at Michigan State. Like he's been that guy, and shit, to be honest, his legacy's been sealed. I say that a lot about KD, Steph, and LeBron. Like if they were to retire, if he didn't sign, if Draymond didn't sign the latest deal, that 4-year, $100 million deal, and he went off and retired, his legacy was sealed.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like he's for sure. Like he went on to be a point forward. You know, I can only imagine how he feels like being a second round pick, coming out like that, already having to fight his way to really get into the starting lineup. Then he got in the starting lineup, and you got to earn all these all-star appearances. Like, well, I mean, once they won the first ring, like it really was all over from there. Of course, they lost the next year to Cleveland. Of course, they won 73 games the next season.
Right, like he's been a part of history. Like he's been a part of history. Like
he was one of the main core four pieces, so you have to really understand that. So
yeah, like for sure, like number 23 is getting retired. No one's wearing that for Golden State literally ever again. They're gonna have all three retired. 30, 11,
like Denver.
Like for real, yeah. I mean, no, I mean either way. To answer the question, like, no, I don't think it's gonna ruin his legacy or anything like that. Like I think some people aren't gonna like it. I hated that Jordan Poole stuff. I'm not gonna lie. That really pissed me off. I'm not gonna hold you, Rod.
Hey, he sucked shit. He sucked the shit out.
It pissed me off, man, because it's like, man,
it's all off. Like, don't get me wrong.
I mean, I was really fucking angry, man. I'm not gonna hold you, bro.
Like to see the video, I was like, yo, he really.
He'll do that to you. He has that in him, 100%. He'll do that to you, bro. Like in front, I can only imagine how Jordan felt getting put in front of the whole team. Like your Steph's right there and all that, bro. You just got to see it happen, and you just got to see him come out after, and y'all just got to be cool on the court and stuff like that. And he was showing that he was fucking with him like that, and like they did indeed trade JP. They had to choose either or, and they chose Draymond, and like that was it.
We knew that they were going to choose Draymond over JP.
And they had already given Jordan Poole $140 million before that.
But also, they let you know that these contracts aren't
don't mean nothing. Like they already had him like strapped in the seatbelt, and they gave Draymond less, and they still traded Jordan. Like they chose because Jordan, like he was taking some some wild shots here and there. Of course, it's phenomenal performance on that 2022 title run, which was why he got that $140 million. Absolutely. So he still has a bright future. He still has a bright
Wiggins. Like,
yeah.
Played out their minds too. They played out of their minds that on that playoff run to the championship.
Most definitely, yeah. Like he was having like 30 and stuff like that, like Jordan Poole. So like, it's like, yeah, man. Like again, like to end on that, I mean, like again, the Jordan Poole stuff in particular, because even like Udonis Haslem came out and said I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I had ever punched Tyler or anything like that. Like he never saw him act like that with Tyler Hero, man. He only supported him and all that. Like that's ego. When you act like that you feel like that's like big dog. That's like until somebody else walks in the locker room, like a DeMarcus Cousins or a Zach Randolph or somebody like that. Someone that he's literally not gonna do that to. And it's kind of like old school bullying type. I mean, you're messing with a younger guard, and man, you're a solidified veteran and stuff like that. It's like I just don't know what he could have said to him to make him feel that tried to punch him in the face, like to really full on, he knows he punched him as hard as he could, and like, bro, who
sucker punch?
Like, yeah, that too, because like you got you pressed up on Jordan, getting you forcing a reaction out of him, and when he gave it to you, you socked him in the face, and like it is what it is. I'm not trying to, some Dub Nation fans that listen to this. It's not too harp on any of the bad things that he's done in his career. Obviously, there's a lot of positive things that he has shown on the floor. It's just a matter of I mean, is it part of his history? Like 100%. Steph, like I remember one time Steph started crying when Draymond got ejected because Steph was just so tired of because he was just so tired of like having like just to carry. Like, he just couldn't do it no more, man. And like, of course, they got Jimmy Butler now, and they're playing great as in near the playoffs. But that's all. Like I'll get my last 2 cents on that. Like this, whatever. He's a future Hall of Famer. one of the greatest Warriors ever. Top 10, 1000%. One of the top, you can say top 5 Golden State Warriors ever. Up there, Rick Barry, all those dudes, 100%. Of course, we got Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond, but these gentlemen won championships, of course. So Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and Draymond Green obviously get a seat at the table when it comes.
Gears turning.
Oh yeah,
you got my gears turning now because now, yeah.
For sure. I mean, so like either way, like I say, he's a future Hall of Famer. Obviously, we just saw the Hall of Fame class get announced. Shout out to all those dudes, Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, most definitely. And of course. Got to. It will be crazy to see Draymond Green make the Hall of Fame. Not like it'll be a surprise, of course. It'll just be crazy to see him, go from getting drafted to winning a first ring. He won all these awards to make the All-Star team, made himself a popular player, the Draymond Green show, Baron Davis. So he can't stay off of there nowadays. And even then, just to get the last reaction, he actually thought he thought that flagrant was hilarious. He thought it was absolutely comical that they gave him the technical. And like in the flagrant when he went baseline, they gave him a 5th foul because remember they lost that game. He was really, really upset, and he went on his podcast and said that was absolutely the swinging pendulum in the game at that time. And I mean, yeah, like either way, like I get it. Obviously, he's gonna say that. You feel me? That's his opinion on it. Baron Davis also backed him up. He said he thought the call was a little egregious to give Draymond a flagrant for going baseline and stuff like that. So either way, like that's Draymond. You feel me? You just have to get used to it. But yeah, I don't know what that sound is right now. It just stopped. But like I said, we got a thunderstorm going on down here. I don't know what that could have been personally, but either way, it just stopped, like I said. But yeah, like Garrett, if you have anything else you'd like to say about Draymond, I'd love to hear it. Like I said, bro, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. They're going into playoffs this year. We'll see how he does perform on his most recent playoff run. But what do you think about Draymond going into this playoff series and playoff season, I should say? And how much longer do you think has playing at this level at 35 years old? That's the last thing I'll ask about Draymond.
Yeah, I mean, when you're at this age, at 35, you're definitely towards the back end of your career, and everybody doesn't have the same durability as LeBron James, where you're 40 years old and you're healthy enough to where you could play another few years. But that could be the same for Draymond. Only he can tell anybody how he feels and how many years he has left before he decides to hang it up. But I mean, at this level, it's not surprising because as you get older, your body starts to wear it down. So he's still producing at a fair level right now. So
Yep.
He's still a guy that can get you a triple double. I think he's capable of doing that. But no, I don't think that Draymond is the same Draymond as he was in his earlier days. But no, like I said, I think he's still a good piece. I think he's in a good situation where he is right now with Golden State, just as far as where they are right now. And who knows? They just got Jimmy Butler, but
Yep.
I don't know what their plans are. I think that the way the team is set up right now, clearly they still want to remain competitive and still compete at a high level in the playoffs. So after this offseason, or after this season rather, when it hits the offseason in the summertime, who knows what other moves they make, because they could come back next season with a better roster to where, hey, they're going to go all in for it, and they're going to try to say, hey, this is the last dance with Draymond and Steph, and see if they can make one last run for a championship before they decide to call it quits. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Draymond, he's a future first ballot Hall of Famer, no question about it. So, but yeah, it'll be exciting to see what they do in the playoffs soon. So in a couple weeks.
And before you answer that question, Wiley, Like, and when I mentioned his age, obviously he like Garrett said, he still gets you a triple double. He just had 13 points, 8 assists, and 9 rebounds literally last night. So I mean, does he still like at 37, does he still like if he wants to keep playing and he still feels good? Can he still get like $100 million deal at 37 and stuff like that? Like, how much longer does he have before?
Whoa, now you got too much dip on your chip.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get. I don't think he'll get anything like that because, like I said, I think durability is big, and that's why I refer to LeBron because, like I said, he's 40 years old, and when you just look at how healthy he is and how well he takes care of his body, I mean, he's a guy that can literally play for another 2-3 years and compete at a very high level because of his durability. But
I was gonna fight you right here, right?
no, I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, the fact of the matter is just like you because like I said, once you get older, your body wears down and you're not going to be able to contribute to the team like you used to do it in your younger days. So I just don't see that with Draymond. I think at that point at 37, he could get you a triple double, but it's not going to be as consistent as he used to do during his younger days. I think he may get you one here and there, but I think at that point, at 37, I think he's going to take a Udonis Haslam kind of role where he's just going to be there for, from a leadership standpoint. I think at that time, Golden State could go younger, and he's just going to be a leader and a mentor for the younger guys and go on, from there. I don't think he's going to play a major role for the team from a production standpoint. I think they're going to rely on the younger guys, like Jonathan Kuminga, guys like that. But I mean, but like I said, yeah, but like I said, he's 35, so that's 2 years from now. So we'll just have to see how he looks at that time. But I think, to me, I'm just predicting that's the kind of role that he'll take at that age. So that's if he's still here.
Of course.
Yeah, Draymond has a couple years left. That the $100 million contract, watch out. Nah. You ain't getting
yeah, that's probably gonna be
because he's gonna ask for because he's not.
He can ask all he wants. The answer is going to be no.
Yeah.
We need you on it. If you're gonna stick around, you're gonna take this pay cut, dog. Like we understand what you mean to the team. That's cool, but also like we gotta usher in a whole younger core and make sure that this team continues to run after you and Steph and Jimmy get up out of here. As far as his play, like, hell, to be honest, he can do exactly what he's doing right now. Get out there, pretty much run the play, lead the playoff, help facilitate, grab your rebounds, get your assists, get you a couple points, and like you said, mentor the young guys. That's really what Golden State is going to need out of him. When it's all said and done, it's mentor these guys, help mentor and usher these guys in to continue to play the type of Golden State basketball that we've been playing. And once your number is called to get out of the court, you do what you normally do. That's really all they need him for. Don't have to go outside of that box. He stays in that box and keep his play relatively flagrant foul clear,
right,
and you're good. So yeah, like I said, Hall of Famer, can still play a couple more years, but it's just more so, hey, we need you to step in and be that veteran for these younger guys, so that way they can carry the torch and continue to play Golden State basketball.
Well, I do want to say this real quick because I know we talked about this topic earlier, but I just saw this. So Denver, they are expected to try to make a possible reunion with former GM Tim Connelly from Minnesota. So I just find that to be ironic. So
Hey,
Hilarious.
big head. It's literally what that is for real. Like seriously. But yeah, even as we get on the Warriors, so they sit at the 7th seed right now, 47-33 in the Western Conference. They are technically in the play-in with a 47-33 record. That lets you know how crazy the Western Conference is right now.
You have other teams that are 47-33. Like,
Like
Jesus.
it's ridiculous. Like seriously. So if it did end right now, if they didn't make the playoffs, make it out the play-in, stuff like that, they would have faced the Houston Rockets in the first round. That would be pretty interesting. I do think Golden State could beat them off their veteranship, the championship experience, stuff like that. That'd probably be one of the best series in the first round. I think would be seriously underrated. But of course, that's my last 2 cents on Golden State. Just wanted to set the foundation for them heading into the future. That's their next step. I do think they will make it out the play-in. Absolutely. I'd be shocked if they don't. And they will play Houston. I can't say if they'll beat Houston because Houston's pretty good. Pretty sure some people would pick the veterans against the young Bucks, though. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Wiley though for our last segment of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
And excited to hear it. And yeah, Wiley, the floor is yours, man.
All right. It's a new show in town. And it's gonna be fun. So I just came up with this show today while at work. And I want to go ahead and introduce it to you guys and the Uncommon Commentators family. I'm calling it Clutch or Choke. Hey, you're clutch or you gonna choke. And it's gonna be on some NBA playoff trivia. So as we go along, we're gonna go along with the NBA playoff system as far as and the length of the playoffs. So we'll pick a week while the playoffs are going, whether it's the first round, semifinals, conference finals, and finals,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll drop in our we'll drop in the game for that series. So we'll start with the first round. You guys will have a little bit of homework because
That's cool.
first round we're gonna take it slow. We're gonna take it slow. First round is nothing trivia wise. I'm gonna have y'all build a team.
Okay.
You're gonna have a starting 5, a 6-man, and a head coach. Now
I've seen it. I've seen this before.
There are some stipulations to this to your starting 5. You're just not finna pick a random 5, 5-6 people in the head coach and be like, yeah, this is my squad. So
playing fantasy.
You're only going to pull from the 80s and up until present day. So anybody from the 80s to the present day. Now, to structure your roster, you must have a rookie, a lefty, a second rounder, an undrafted player, and a G League alum.
Okay.
And then for your 6-man, it's whoever you want for your 6-man, and your head coach, again, you're picking from between the 80s and the present day. And
I need a rookie.
Yep,
a lefty,
a lefty, a second rounder,
undrafted,
and a G leaguer.
G leaguer.
G League
alumni. Yeah.
Now, and when it comes to your players, be specific. So, like, let's say you choose Charles Barkley. So you could be like, I'm taking for my power forward, I'm taking 96 Charles Barkley. He was at Phoenix at the time, helped them to the finals. That be specific, because it's going to matter when you put your roster together.
Okay.
All
right. I look forward to it. Hell yeah. Hey, I'm with it. Hey, I'm all yours.
Anybody watching, y'all are more than welcome to join in. I will make sure it's posted as we get closer. So we know we got the play-ins. The play-ins we not participating with the play-in portion. So you got plenty of time to go and do your research, put your roster together, find your 6-man, find your head coach. And somewhere throughout the first round, we'll get that going. Now for the semifinals. Semifinals is going to be your basic trivia. It's going to be a little bit of historical and some. It's going to be a mixture of historical and present day trivia.
Gotcha.
So again, it's not nothing crazy. Okay. Hey, y'all, if y'all would have saw what Garrett was putting in the chat,
man, almost called out sick. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know where he got up his sleeve. I didn't do it. I plead not guilty. I'm just saying.
Oh man, but again, all of it's gonna be basic. It's gonna be basic. Again, nothing hard. Now the catch is, you get 1 point if it's right. If you get it wrong, that's considered a turnover. You lose a point.
So playing horse.
He said we playing horse. And then as we move on to the conference final, we're gonna do like a this or that type deal, where I'll say this player scored 50 points during the conference final, and it'll be between two players, and you'll have to pick pretty much you just pick the correct player. And then once we get to the finals, that's when we'll have 3 questions that we worth 3 points each. Those will be the ones where you have to be on your toes a little bit. That'll be, and they'll more than likely revolve around finals, NBA finals event, game. So as we get to each round, I'll been to carve this out a lot better, and when we get ready to play, I'll have all my rules together. But I at least wanted to put this out there. Of course, if you guys, once we get to the finals, if you guys tie, we go into overtime. And I have a good one. I have something good for overtime. I will keep that in the tuck. But again, for everybody that's watching and listening, if you would like to play along, please do. We would definitely like to see, especially with this started with the building your team. I would love to see everybody's roster and how they would construct it, especially with having to have, again, a rookie, a lefty, second rounder, undrafted player in the G League. So that's the game. Clutch or choke. We're gonna have us a good time. Again, it's going to be as the rounds go. We'll more than likely it'll be in the middle. And it, of course, is going to adjust as these games go, because of course you're going to have team. You may have a team that gets swept. You may have a team that go all 7. So we'll figure out a time frame to get that off in there during each round. But hopefully this I feel good about this, fellas. I feel good about this. I think this will be fun.
Me and you both. Hey, I mean, it's basketball talk at the end of the day, and I'm always trying to make sure my memory is refreshed. I'm always on my toes. I like being prepared for whatever, at least the most I can be.
Look, it's basketball. We've all been watching this. We've all been watching this for as long as we can remember. It's the fact of, I'm just glad I'm not participating. I get to be the host. I might show up in a blazer shirt and tie for y'all, just for the aesthetics. Look,
you might as well look.
Hey, I might even have to buy the little skinny. I might even have to buy a little skinny mic that like Bob Barker.
Hey man,
the price is right, like for real.
Yeah, you might as well. Might as well.
But like I said, I'm not gonna make this hard for y'all. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time.
Okay, all right,
Look,
I'll be waiting on it.
Y'all get to face each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, hey, it's
Y'all
what
get
it
to
is.
face each other. So it's between you and Garrett. Me,
I
I'm
thought
just
this was gonna be like a grenade or something like that, because like,
Let
bro,
go off, you don't know where it's
I
coming
don't
from.
know what this man got up his sleeve. I don't know.
nothing up my sleeve, y'all. I'm just out here trying to have a good time and test a little NBA knowledge out in the world. That's it.
That's good though.
I mean, hey man, I appreciate you for keeping me sharp. You know, I can only appreciate your effort. You know, so I mean, outside of that,
Look, just imagine if I did this with the best damn W show, and shoot, man, listen, between women's college basketball and the W, oh Lord. But of course, with all three of them, I really got to dig in. I really would have to dig deep because they are knowledgeable. They are super knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But no, that's it, fellas. That's all I got for the show. Like I said, it's going to run as the NBA playoffs run. Again, we're going to go all the way to the finals. Yep. We'll announce it ahead of time. We'll be on Twitter. We'll post it on Twitter so that way people can play along. We'll, if you respond to Twitter, we'll pull some and post them on here on the live show. Again, we between y'all, of course, it's great competition, but also would love for our audience to join in and get in on the fun as well.
Yeah, no, man, like I really appreciate it. I'm really excited for it. It's a brilliant idea. Now that you've explained it, I really do look forward to digging in this weekend as much as I can. I mean, you might be talking about the 80s. I'm gonna dig into the 70s just in case. You never know what this man might have up his sleeve, So, yeah, man, that was it for me.
The 80s is just the 80s is just for the team. Now, I may go back a little bit. There's going to be a little. Of course, there's a little bit of history that you should know when it comes to the league. So,
of course,
and again, it's going to be they're going to be multiple choice questions. So, you'll be able to guess some of these. You'll be able to figure out with these.
Right. Okay. Now, I mean, I at least appreciate you giving us options instead of us having to vaguely try to answer.
I might change my mind. I don't know yet.
Out of the massive encyclopedia book that is.
Man, Twan, don't say nothing else before he changes his mind, man.
Like for real. Like
don't say nothing else.
Seriously. Nah, for real. I look forward to it again. I'm always up for a challenge, like I said. Most definitely. But that was it for me tonight, Garrett, unless you had anything else that you had to add, of course, on the 71st episode of the Uncommon Commentators. Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the trivia game. I think it's going to be very, very fun. I am a little bit more relieved now because, like I said before, I was really going to take a day off from being sick. I was going to call in, but now I'm all good, so I'm up for it. But yeah, tonight was a great episode. So of course, thank you guys for tuning in with us and hanging out with us to talk hoops. And of course, we're going to keep this going. So thank you all for your time and your support.
Mm-hmm. Thank y'all so much. God bless y'all. March Madness is over, but the playoffs are approaching soon. It's not even no WNBA. Of course, the draft's coming up pretty soon. Really excited to see where Paige Bueckers is gonna go. Pretty sure I got a pretty good idea, to be quite honest. But yeah, either way, really excited to watch these playoffs. It's gonna be incredible. Like I did mention, the 7th seed in the Golden State is 47-33, and the 8th seed is 46-33 in Minnesota. So it's gonna be crazy playoffs indeed. Really competitive, regardless whatever seeding you see take place. So we're close. Gonna have a lot to talk about, and obviously we got a new game that we're gonna be covering throughout the playoffs. So look forward to that. And y'all have a blessed weekend. Thank y'all so much for joining us on the Uncommon Commentators, and God bless y'all, most definitely.
Give me my theme music.